You qualified as a solicitor in 1993.
Yeah.
And from what I understand, you were already working at a law firm before that.
So you do, back then it was called your articles, so you do 2 years, so you work in different seats.
And what do you mean by seats?
So there's different areas of law, so like conveyancing, where you're doing property transactions, corporate law, where you're dealing with business stuff, or litigation, which is where I went. So you have to do certain seats over the course of your 2 years articles to then become a solicitor.
Excellent. So we've got our 3 years university, then we go to law school, which is 2 years, and then are we doing another 2 years of articling?
Yeah, but that's working now, so you're now working on the job.
Gotcha. So you've finished law school. How did you initially get that first articling position?
Approaching a couple of local firms, and again, it was a bit too easy because I got 2 offers straight away. So it's then, okay, which one do I go with? And I decided to go with a firm that was then in Lewis and Hove. And it's the same firm I work with now, and now I'm an owner of.
So really came full circle. And what was it about that particular firm that was appealing to you over the other?
I think it was the opportunity straight away to run my own caseload. So it was sort of flying sort of by the seat of your pants straight away. So it was right, here's a caseload. I remember a lawyer was retiring, and it was like, take over his caseload. And it's very different to how it is now, and I wouldn't let any of my trainee solicitors do that now. But then it was like, right. I remember within a month I was doing a trial for a client and doing all the advocacy in court, and that was like, okay, right, let's just do it.
It was a very full-on experience.
Yeah, very full-on.
And do you think, in terms of your personality, that was the best way to go about it? For it to be 100%?
Yeah, I mean, I like a challenge, and it was a challenge, and I think doing that gave me the confidence to go, okay, yeah, fine. You know, some cases are obviously easier than other cases, and again, people are different. But I enjoyed the challenge, and I think you either like that sort of journey, or it's not for you. And I think you'll find out quite quickly if you want to become a sort of dealing with litigation, whether you want to do it or not.
Yeah, right away you kind of know if this is the thing for you.
It's not for everyone.
And when you started your articling career and you were kind of looking through the different seats that were available, did you have in mind that you'd want to go into litigation, or were there other paths that you were interested in?
No, I was always, that's what I wanted to do. And again, it goes back to that sort of courtroom drama environment that grabbed my sort of psyche that I wanted to do it.
Were you always sure of yourself in this new position as a young solicitor who was articling at this firm that you were given so much responsibility?
Well, I think I don't know. I mean, I can't remember, but I'm never not confident enough to ask someone a question if I don't know the answer myself. And that's something I always encourage people who work with me is don't ever be afraid to ask a question, even if you think it's a silly question, because none of us know everything. And again, there's always 2 ways of looking at a position, and it's better to explore that with someone else rather than just sort of go and make an error and then have to sort it out afterwards. So yeah, I'm never have been afraid to go and ask someone if I didn't know something. And I think that's important.
And in those early days, did you have a mentor that was particularly influential for you?
Probably the guy who set up the business, a guy called John Healy, who I was under him initially for sort of becoming the trainee. And he was a very calm, assured individual. And I'm quite similar to that. And that's how I've sort of progressed, being quite calm. You know, obviously you can get in very complicated, emotional, hectic situations with litigation, especially with things like injunctions, which are immediate, high pressured. Just remain calm, because again, you've got to give that assurance to the client who is emotional, under stress, under pressure, and if you're replicating that back to them, that's just going to heighten their their feeling of stress.
Absolutely.
So stay calm.
Is that your natural disposition to stay calm?
Yes. My wife may say otherwise.
And even as a child, you said you were this class clown and that you were, always into the drama. Do you think that this mentor of yours kind of helped instill the importance of being calm? Or do you think it was just maturity that got you to a point?
Probably a bit of both. Probably a bit of both. I mean, again, I think as you progress as a child into your teens, into your adult years, and then you become an owner of a business, you mature naturally. Whatever your pace is your pace. But I think I've always been probably an old head on young shoulders.
A wise man. It's the white hair.
Some would say.
You became a partner in 2001 at the law firm?
Yes.
Yes. And tell me about, how did that come about?
I think it's a natural progression when you're working for a firm that you want to aspire to, if you want to stay at that firm, that you want to become a partner. And then from there, potentially, where does that then take you in that journey with that firm or another firm? So I think if you're going to be a solicitor, your aspiration will become a partner of a firm or the firm that you're with.
And did you ever, because obviously you've been to this firm for many years now, did you ever consider taking a different path, or did you feel content with where you were?
Well, I think by being where I am, I think clearly I was contented enough. I mean, I've been approached by other law firms over the years, but I've always been quite happy where I am.
You don't seem to get fazed by like the bright, shiny things that other people might be attracted to from another offer.
Not particularly.
Yeah, you seem like a very steady individual who knows what they want.
Yeah, I'd say that's fair.
That's fair. In those early years, is there any specific cases that you remember being specifically influential in your development as a lawyer?
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I've. It's a job, isn't it? So you do so many jobs. I've had so many cases. So they don't tend to stick out. It's the next job.
Yeah.
And you want to get on and do it, resolve it, whatever. I think as a kid, when I started out, probably as I said, within a month, I was doing everything myself. And I remember, I suppose probably from an ego point of view, I had got sort of given a trial to do in the morning. Right, you're in court for a 2-hour trial in the afternoon. Prep up and do it.
Wow.
And at that stage, you had to ask permission of the judge because I wasn't qualified. I was training for a right of audience.
Oh, man.
So it wasn't a big case, but it was, I don't know, say £30,000 claim. And I was acting for this claimant. And so I sort of went into the court, and obviously you're a little bit nervous, and it's like, I'd only had a couple of hours to prep up on it. And I've got to cross-examine and go through the evidence and stuff. And I remember the other side was a senior partner of one of the other law firms in the area, and he had his article clerk there taking notes, smiling at me, going, you could see the imaginary sort of impression, and I won that claim. So that was quite...
Wow.
I felt quite pleased of myself for the client.
Yeah.
But again, just looking at the article clerk over me, going, yep.
Look what I did.
Yep.
And you're right, taking notes.
Yeah, you take a note of that.
Yes.
So that, I mean, things like that are sort of, again, but it's an ego thing, isn't it, more than anything else?